Let me tell you about the old me. Never thought that anyone could love someone like me.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kingdom Builder. I'm your host, Kelly Mead, and I'm so excited to be joined by a new artist who is celebrating the release of her single, Brand New. Arielle Nichole, how are you?
I'm doing so good. I'm so grateful to be here. How are you?
I'm great. It's so good to have you on the show. I've been listening to you for like a couple years now, I think, ever since the Rest EP came out. So I really love those songs, and I can't wait to dive in to talk about your music. But before we get there, since a lot of our viewers are probably meeting you for the first time, can you share a little bit about your testimony and how you first got started in music?
Absolutely. So I grew up in a Christian home. And I always wanted to please God. I always wanted to know him, but I feel like I had a skewed version of who God was in my head. Like I put a lot of pressure on myself all the time, and that led to me having a lot of anxiety. And like as a kid, I struggled with obsessive compulsive disorder and just intrusive thoughts all the time. So I dealt with that, but slowly learning more about who God is and learning his character from experience and through his word, I've just I've seen him just put to rest so much of the anxiety that I've struggled with, and just given me a sound mind. And I still worry, I still struggle, but God has been so good to just help me with that and to put those thoughts to rest and give me peace. So it's been so cool getting to write songs about that. And yeah, I would say when I was about 12 is when I really seriously dedicated my life to Christ at a youth conference during worship. So Revelation song was playing during worship, and that's when you have a song with someone that's super special. That's me and God's song, I feel because Revelation song was going, and I just felt like he was pursuing me and wanted a serious relationship with me, and that's when I truly dedicated my life to Christ. But as far as music goes, I started singing when I was really young and just always loved singing. But when I was in 6th grade, I entered our school talent show, and I sang Put Your Records On. And it was the first time I really sang in front of people. And it was just so much fun, and I loved it. And my parents had gotten me a karaoke machine, so I would just do karaoke every day with my friends. But I really got started singing at my youth group in my hometown where I actually live now. And so that's where my husband and I got close, and that's kind of how I got started in music, and then started songwriting after I graduated high school.
Yeah, that's so cool. I feel like that's something that I've been talking with quite a few people about lately, is how much God can use music to speak into our lives just the right time, and really not only lift our spirits, but also really draw us closer to him, and to really impact our faith journey in that way. And I think that's a big reason why I've always been so drawn to music as a fan. And now I just love hearing the artists get to share how different songs have made an impact on them and everything. So that is really, really cool. And then you mentioned how you met your husband. I love your story. That is so sweet. And I love seeing you guys work together. I think that's such a beautiful thing.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for him. We co-write together. He's my drummer, and yeah, it's so funny because we never expected to end up together. We were just such good friends throughout school, and then after high school, he invited me to prom, and that was when we're something's different. I think we might like each other. But yeah, I love what you said about how God uses music, and it's funny because I kind of doubted that at first. I grew up leading worship in my church, and they really poured into me as a worship leader, and I loved it, but I kind of ran from it during college because I was I had this weird mindset that music was just a luxury, and it's a fun job, but I didn't understand the impact it can make. And God just started challenging that perspective through scripture. For example, how when Saul was being tormented by evil spirits in his mind and stuff, and then he would bring David in to just play his harp, and through him playing the harp, like God made those demons like flee. And I'm like, wow, like he wasn't even singing words, like he was just playing an instrument and God used that. And yeah, the Levites in the Bible, like they were the musicians and they were at the front lines of the battle. And I just saw those examples. I was like, wow, like God could really use music for his glory and to like save people and bring them in closer to himself. So yeah, that's why I do music. I love it.
Yeah, I love that. And I love those examples that you brought up. And I think that's going to be really important for people to hear too, because they can sometimes forget, because we can get caught up in thinking, oh, this is just a lot of fun and not really think about it. It is so important to have these songs like you record and other Christian artists that carry such a positive, impactful message with the word of God embedded throughout them. So speaking of that, like I can't wait for more people to start hearing your music. You have the Rest EP that you released a couple of years ago, and you have such a beautiful tone to your voice. And I've really loved listening to those songs in particular, like Rest and Trust and Just Be My Child. And then the final track on that was What He Started. And I would absolutely love to hear a little bit more about each of those songs if you can share.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, thank you so much. So, Rest, the EP really came like a few years ago. I felt like the theme of my life was just rest. Like, I felt like God was just taking me through a whole life lesson about resting in Him. Because, like I said, like my tendency is to get anxious and to try to figure everything out and make things happen or worry about things or how they're going to happen, And I felt like God was just saying, like, just rest, like, just trust me. And that's why trust came in too, because I feel like rest is so closely tied in with trust. Like you can't really rest in something if you don't trust. And that's kind of what I was learning at the time. Like God was like, you don't actually trust me. And I was like, what? Yes, I do. He's like, no, you don't. Like, learn to trust me and my character and rest and just give it to me. I was living in Louisiana and just having some worries, anxieties, and that was just the thing that kept coming up over and over. So rest started out during a time where I was really anxious and I felt like those words just kind of dropped into my heart, like, let my mind rest, let my thoughts slow down, let my body breathe. He holds me now. I don't need to figure it all out. Let my mind rest. So I was just singing those words over myself and I recorded it into my phone and showed my husband and we finished it together. So yeah, that was really fun. And then the other songs also came out of that season.
Yeah, and I love what you said about the connection between trust and rest. It kind of makes me think of one of my favorite verses. I think it's Romans 15:13 that says, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you can overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. And I think that, when our minds are set on him and we're putting our trust in him, then he can give us that peace and allow us to find rest in him. So I didn't really think about that, those two songs being like that closely connected in that way. So I love that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that those two and then the other songs on that EP, as well as the newer ones, I think they have the ability to really resonate with different listeners that are out there. I know that they have with me. And that brings us to Brand New, which I am so excited for more people to hear. I love what I've heard of it. So how did that song come about?
So Brand New, I actually just shared a story about this on my social media, but I went to Passion Conference 2024 in Atlanta, and it was my first time at Passion. And I forget exactly what the stadium's called, but it has like a rooftop that can open up, which is really cool. I think it's the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Yeah. So it was during worship, and like all of a sudden the roof starts like opening and like the sunlight just like pours through and this like fresh wind like rushes into the building. And it was like just a breath of fresh air. And we were all just like singing Glorious Day. And it was just a joyful moment. And that was so inspiring to me. And at the end of that conference, Christine Kane was speaking, and she spoke about how we don't want to try and replicate the old thing that God did, like the way that he did it in the past, but we want to be a part of the new thing that he's doing right now. And she was like, people might say like, oh, I want to be the next so-and-so, or you're the next so-and-so, but she's like, you're not, like, you're you, and God is doing a new thing. And I was like, wow, like, that's awesome. So I was like, I want to write a song that's like about being new. And I brought it to my husband. He was there on the trip, Tehran, and we got to writing, and we actually went on a trip for my birthday that same year. And it was like, yeah, about a year ago. And we were driving and just like songwriting and recording it into our phones, and we were so excited and came up with the melody. And then after that, we got together with some friends after we finished the song, and so Tehran co-wrote it with me. And then our friend Javi Ordonez, he is the co-producer with Tehran, so he really helped it come to life musically. And then his wife Eris, her social media is under Eris Ford. She is the vocal producer. So she was in the studio with me, just like helping me get all the background vocals together, and she's also on there. So yeah, we got to go to Nashville and hang out with them and record with them. And yeah, our friend Cameron Theodos helped write it, and then Matt Marin mixed it. So yeah, it all just like came together, and it's a fun, upbeat song about who you once were, but Jesus coming in and making you brand new.
Yeah, I love that. I love the story that you have there. And once again, I mean, it's like showing how music was playing a part in that. I love the story behind that. And like you were saying, how God created each of us to be a new creation and not supposed to necessarily do what's been done before and try to be someone else, because he created us all as unique individuals with our own talents and our own thought process and different ways of looking at things. That's a lot with art in general, you know, like music and stories and just artwork. And I love how he can use creativity in that way through us.
That's so true. I love that.
So I know you've done a couple of collaborations so far, but who would you love to work with someday?
I love this question. So I would love to work with John Bellion one day. That's like a huge dream. But John Bellion, he's a producer, and I think he's like produced for like Justin Bieber, the Jonas Brothers. Tori Kelly is signed to his record label, but I just love his ear and like the way that he puts music together. So that would be so awesome. And then John Foreman, who's the lead singer of Switchfoot. He's like one of my biggest inspirations. I went with my dad to his concert one time, and it was just so intimate and so fun. And he actually like passed around a piece of paper for a song request, and he would like pick it up and read it, be like, okay, let's do it. And like, I just loved the intimate feel of his concerts, and his songwriting is incredible. I would love to feature on one of his songs or perform with him or do something to that effect. But yeah, all the Johns, it's funny. A lot of my favorite artists, like first name is John, spelled Jon. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, that would be really cool, because at first glance, you wouldn't necessarily think like Switchfoot and Arielle Nichole. But I could totally see that actually working out, and it would be a really fun collaboration. So yeah, I think it would be awesome.
Seriously. And like John has his own like acoustic music out that's so different from Switchfoot. I'm like, that is so cool. Like he has the like rock outlet, but then he also has like like an acoustic folk kind of feel. I'm like, that's really interesting, like really cool.
Yeah, I think it's always neat to hear artists kind of explore different sounds and different styles, and especially if it's something that they've been like heavily influenced by as a fan, it just really is cool to hear their take on it too.
Yes, I love that.
So you're one of our 2025 artists to watch this year for today's Christian Entertainment. So happy to include you on that list. And
Thank you so much.
yeah, I was like really excited when I heard Brand New was coming out. So I'm like, oh yes, I can put Arielle on there and we'll have more. I know because you have some more music on the way. So what are some other things that you are excited about as 2025 unfolds?
Yes. So we are currently working on a few more singles that we want to release this year. And I'm so excited about them. And then we're really focusing on live performance. We would love to come out and play in different venues and churches and just provide like a night for people to come out and be refreshed and be encouraged and hear about Jesus and have fun. So yeah, we're really, really focusing on performing and getting out there. And so we would love if anybody hears this and wants us to come out to their church, totally reach out because we would love to come.
So yeah, what would be the best way for people to do that, to get in touch with you if they are interested in booking you?
Yeah, so they can email booking@ariellenichole.com. And then there's a whole like process that we go through that's pretty simple, but that would probably be the best way, or even like social media, things like that.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I think that would be really, really cool if more people can like see this and then be like, oh yeah, listen to the music and hear your story, and think that it would be a really impactful thing for, their congregation or maybe their youth group or whatever. I think it'd be an awesome fit for that.
Thank you so much.
And I want to encourage everyone to visit ariellenichole.com. And I will link that in the description below this video, as well as all of her social pages. So be sure to follow her to keep up with what's happening this year, and listen to Brand New and her Rest EP everywhere music is available. Arielle Nichole, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Kelly. This was so much fun.